Of course, there is that ongoing concern about those refugees that have fled. About half of them have headed to Poland.
Yeah, filmmaker and journalist Jeff MacIntyre, he has been in Poland with some of those refugees, and he now joins us live tonight. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me to share this really important story.
Absolutely. So tell us, give us a sense of what your overall experience was like.
So for perspective, Alex and Marla, I was in Haiti after the quake. I was in Japan after the tsunami. And while the physical and human devastation was just jaw-dropping, being on the border of Poland and Ukraine, just standing face to face with these Ukrainian mothers, in one hand they had all the worldly possessions, anything that they could carry, and in the other hand they had their children and maybe a pet. Some of them knew where they were going, and others, they're kind of just making it up as they go along. But the one question that kind of hung heavy was the when or if I will be able to return home.
Oh,
right.
And will I even have a home or country to return to? So it was just kind of next level devastation, and the heartbreak was palpable.
You filed this story, which we are now debuting exclusively here on the Fox 11 News Special Report. Here's some of Jeff's reporting from Poland.
2 weeks ago, this was a popular outlet mall in Korczowa, Poland. Today, it's the first stop to freedom for fleeing Ukrainian women and children. Media access here is severely limited, so this is an exclusive look inside.
This is a refugee processing center next to a major border crossing here in eastern Poland, and they tell me this is a light period with only about 2,000 Ukrainians. At times, this could easily swell to 5,000. And here they get a temporary respite. There's food, playroom for the kids, clothes, medical supplies, whatever they need. It's a chance to catch their breath before they board buses to Warsaw and other cities in Poland to then make a new life.
This is the first stop in, I would say, European Union, that people get.
Chris is a volunteer. He was born in Poland, but spent most of his life in the U.S. He's proud of what's being done to support his neighbors.
They come here, we take care of them. Once we make sure that they're okay to go further, we find buses for them.
Chris shows me around the converted shopping center. Mounds of donated items around every corner, which he's grateful for.
So I want to say big thank you to everyone. I mean, we have things coming in here left and right. I mean, we're slowly running out of space to store all these things.
These donations not only help mothers and children who had to escape the war, but also support their husbands and fathers left behind to fight it.
A lot of this medical stuff that we get in our unit, we actually pack up and then we give it to the guys who are actually going across the border to give it to the soldiers who are fighting in the front lines.
Recently, the number of refugees fleeing Ukraine surpassed 2.5 million. More are coming, and the need for compassionate volunteers is growing.
You guys are always welcome here, to get yourself involved in helping those people.
You may be moved by these images, but it doesn't compare to the flood of emotions from being here. Chris urges people to seek out ways to help locally, and the lives touched are twofold: theirs and yours.
It's Jeff MacIntyre reporting there in Poland. Now he's made his way back home to Southern California. Jeff, what did the refugees themselves tell you?
The real profound sense I got was their incredible strength in probably the biggest nightmare situation of their lives. They all put on their stoic face, and they, one actually through a translator and kind of rough Ukrainian told me, I asked about how she was able to stay so strong, and she said, silly boy, there's no time for tears when you're trying to save your children.
Oh my goodness.
And this silly boy got the message pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious, though, for all of these, because that shopping mall turned refugee center is just a stopping point onto the next one. So do most of these refugees have a destination?
Good question, Marla. In this particular center, they get 2 kind of free nights there, and then they have to board a bus and take off to either family and friends who are in Poland or destinations elsewhere. So some of them, like I said, they do have a plan. There's a large Ukrainian population within Poland. They're neighbors. So they've been, going back and forth for years. The ones that don't have any solid travel plans, they take to social media. And this has really been a redeeming moment for social media. There's a lot of Ukrainian Facebook groups that offer posts for transportation and accommodations. And just let me give you 2 examples of the generosity, the compassion and action that we're seeing. Will in Madrid, he can offer a fold-out couch. And then there's a family in Sweden who's offering accommodation for 6 people with a beautiful garden to play in. Now, these are complete strangers, at least now. Soon, they're going to become lifelong friends. But it's incredibly refreshing to see just the heart and the humanity that this situation has really forged throughout the world.
Yeah, we've been seeing people all over the world also that have been buying rooms on Airbnb in Ukraine with no intention of actually going there, but just as a way to get money to the people that are in Ukraine that are sometimes bunkered underneath those homes. It has been interesting to see, as one of the first real large-scale wars that we've seen during this social media age, the way that people have used those tools to try to bring people together as well has been striking. Jeff, your reporting is always striking all over the world, and we do appreciate you bringing it to us here tonight on Fox 11, and look forward to talking to you more in the days and weeks ahead.
Thank you both.
Coming up, COVID surging in several countries.